All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and introduce you all to today's guests. We have Nathalie Timmerman, who is right now in Germany and soon will be bouncing all around the world. She was telling me her upcoming plans, which are awesome. And Nathalie is a coach and a positive psychologist. Did I say that right?
You didn't say that right, yeah.
And we're going to have a fun conversation today. And without further ado, for me, I want to introduce you guys to Nathalie. And Nathalie, if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, just who you are, what you do, why you do it, any of that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, so basically, as you've said, I'm a life coach because that's currently the easiest way of explaining what I do. What I do in my coaching is really, it's about establishing a lifestyle and a mindset that will enable you to be your best self, live your best life, and really build a life that you love. And so, yeah, it's really a lot about just empowering you or, anyone really.
I love that.
To live your best life.
I could tell just spending a few moments on your Instagram that you really cared about, anyone that was viewing your videos or anything that you post, that what you just said, you wanted to see people be able to live their best life. And I think it's awesome that not only you're doing that, but doing it by example. Nathalie and I were talking for a little bit before we started, well, a lot of it before we started recording. I was like, we have to start recording this because there's just more things that were coming out that I wanted to share with you guys. But did you know, Nathalie, that you already, because you went to school and you studied coaching and psychology stuff and lots of stuff that you're actually using now, which is awesome because I know so many people, myself included, that went to school and we're not using anything that we learned besides just taking some of the life experiences that we learned and applying it to the real world. But did you always know that, when did you know that you wanted to make an impact on people and help people and coach people? And because you've said it to me and, I know it to be true that really for those of you out there listening, one of the best ways, if not the best way to help anyone is by our own example, first and foremost. And you mentioned that, and I think that's awesome that you're aware of that. So when did you decide that you wanted to take it a step further and actually put your own time into helping people and all that stuff?
So I think it's been a lifelong passion of mine to kind of help people and make people feel good around me. And I've done this in as a completely different ways, like from being, I used to volunteer for an organization that's basically equal to the Red Cross. So I was in first aid and that whole thing. Then I did a volunteer year after school. And it was always just like, for me, it was almost, my purpose in life was always to just have a good impact on people, make people feel good. And then I never really had the intention of becoming a coach. Life just unfolded in all its beauty and kind of brought me here. But it was, I studied, my bachelor was business psychology. So that was my first kind of touch point with psychology. Then after my bachelor, I had no clue what to do with my life. So I became a personal trainer, which is basically just another form of therapist or coach, because that's really what you do all the time. Take people out of their comfort zones, give them confidence. And then after that, I was like, shit, what am I actually doing with my life? And I had no idea. And I already had my bachelor thesis included positive psychology, which I'm hugely passionate about. It's such an amazing approach. And so I found my master's in London, positive and coaching psychology, which just as a combination made so much sense to me. So yeah, I moved to London from Germany and started from there really. And suddenly, like looking back, I was like, oh shit, like everything's actually falling into place. I have those individual pieces. And now in my coaching, it's really about holistic living and finding a holistic, sustainable way of creating that lifestyle that will enable you to just be your best self and live your best life. So yeah, that's how it happened. Kind of just happened. Life, I guess.
I love it. What a cool example that you are. If anybody's out there listening, which I don't know the full age range of the listeners at this moment, but if you're thinking about going to study something, be like Nathalie and study something that you can actually use. I think that's really novel idea. I give advice to people, and I was a baseball player, Natalie, and super into fitness too. I didn't know that you were a personal trainer at one point. But I went to college, and the counselor asked me, so what do you want to study while you're here? And I said, well, they told me that I have to take classes in order to play baseball. And so I just want the easiest major, like whatever you think that is, because I'm going to be playing pro in a few years, and I'm just taking classes because you guys are making me. So don't do that. Actually look at what's offered, and maybe there's something that resonates with you. You're like, ooh, that's something that I could, potentially see myself doing. And you don't have to know the future as far as what you're going to be doing. I mean, none of us know all the details of life and how it's going to evolve. But if there's something that gives us an energetic pull, you're like, that's kind of exciting. That's kind of in alignment with, how I know that I am and what I like to do. Really great idea. And you're a great example of that, Natalie.
But I think what was important to say on that note as well, like, I still massively struggle. Like, although it was something that interests me, I had that pressure of like, oh my God, I need to do something with this. So for example, while I was studying for my bachelor's, I was convinced I'm going to go into marketing, or like, I didn't want to have anything to do really with like organizational psychology, which is something I do now. I was just like, oh no, it's going to be marketing. So completely detached again from what I actually want to do, like helping people. And like on every kind of base, like my bachelor, my personal training, my master's, I had no idea that this is what I'm going to end up doing. So, and I still had that pressure the whole time, like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this specific piece of education? And it was just like, I think 2 years ago or something, where I was like, oh shit, wait a second. Everything I've done is actually working together now. So it's that still not getting too attached to that, oh, this is something I need to use. Life is going to unfold in whichever way it needs to. And if you look back, sometimes you'll be so surprised how suddenly things fit together that you didn't expect to. Um, so yeah, it's, I guess, finding that balance of going for something that interests you, obviously, and that you're passionate about. And maybe if it's useful, go for something useful, but don't get too attached to that one as well. I think life will just go in whichever way it has to, or is supposed to go.
I'm so happy that you just said all of that. Like, that inspired me so much. If you're watching the YouTube video, you watched me nod my head the whole time Natalie was just speaking, because it just highlights how life just operates for all of us. And I've never met someone that had like their whole life scripted out and they knew all the details and all of the different twists and turns and ups and downs and people that they would meet and different, parts of the journey that they would take. I've never met anyone that has had all that planned. And, Natalie's no different. And I'm definitely no different, because I was just sharing with Natalie, and, some of you guys know what we're doing with the Universal Abundance Community. Some of you guys don't. But I was sharing with Natalie at the beginning on how it's basically, here I am, 37. Natalie, I've been out of college now for 15 years. Like, once you get to that point, you're like, oh my gosh, like, time just flies. So I've done so many different things since, like, I hurt myself and had surgery when I was 21 and I couldn't play. It was tough for me to play baseball anymore. So going pro, I realized wasn't going to happen at 23. So literally the last, 14 years has just been this evolution of, doing different things that I wanted to try, or I was like, oh, I don't really like that. Let me try this. Let me go to LA and let me act and let me do this. And like so many different things. But it's just like life will continue to unfold. And I mean, thank goodness for me. I'm so appreciative, and kind of want to ask you how you got on your spiritual journey. Cause you mentioned before we started recording that it hasn't always been that way for you. I'm so grateful that I had a mentor, because I was one of those people, like my greatest weakness was just wanting to replace the success that I thought I was going to have as a kid playing baseball. Because it wasn't like a pipe dream. It was like I was always more advanced than all the kids my age, all the way up until I was 21. And so once I wasn't there, the people that met me when I was 22, 23, 24, when I knew I wasn't going to play and I was kind of lost, could see that I was just like thinking about how I could replace this future, this success that I thought I was going to have. So it threw my energy way off. Like there was just up and down. Like it was a roller coaster, because I genuinely wasn't happy, and I didn't understand that. I was like, well, is this what is destined for me, just to be like doing these like random 9-to-5 jobs and like I was valet parking for a time in Malibu, driving cars that I thought I would already own by this time. It was like, what is going on with life? And so thank goodness I met a mentor that gave me or suggested that I read The Science of Getting Rich, was a law of attraction book written in 1919 by Wallace Wattles. And also thank goodness that the book was only maybe like 70 pages or something, and it was so thin, because at that point in my life,
Manageable.
I'd never read a book by choice, except it was like Michael Jordan had like a picture book called Rare Air that was written when I was a kid, and I was like, this is awesome, all these pictures. So thank goodness for that. But since then, it's just been like, okay, now I can actually see how life is going to evolve. Life can be more of an adventure. And then I attracted other books and other people and other videos and just life experience. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that. Nathalie, how did it happen for you? Like, as far as the education stuff that you've got, which is giving you an awesome foundation. And then also I love that you can filter the stuff that they give you in like really rigid education. I think you described it as more rigid, or whatever word you use when it comes to some of that stuff. When did you get the inspiration to now you can filter it through some of the spiritual teachings that you've also obviously become aware of? How did that kind of happen for you?
So I think, yeah, for the majority of my life, I'm very science minded, love science, love facts, always have, always will. Um, and obviously going through university, like you get that, like, oh, this is scientific, like this is how you measure stuff, these are the golden rules of statistics and research and whatever. And I love them. I love certainty in that sense. However, like I think I've always had that sense of, okay, there's something more to life. But then I never kind of dared to voice that because of judgment, basically. Like I had massive social anxiety for a long time. So anything that would put me in a place of potentially being judged, I just avoided, and that was one of the things. Um, and then I met one of my closest friends about 2.5 years ago through my day job, my still day job. Um, and she was on a completely different level, very spiritual, but still very grounded. Not the kind of person that I would put into that category, like, oh, that hippie kind of thing. Like, yeah, I can see, like, weird person, really. Um, Very grounded, amazing person. Oh God, I don't know. She's one of my biggest mentors for sure in my life. And she kind of kept talking about it, but in a very grounded way, not in a very woo-woo kind of way. So I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense, kind of makes sense. But I remember, like, up to 2.5 years ago, the law of attraction, I would have described the following way. Oh yeah, of course, if you believe something, then subconsciously you will align your behaviors in order to favor that outcome. So that very kind of CBT kind of way of explaining that kind of change. And I'm sure it's still like plays a role, but now I'm like, nah, this is not how the world runs, is it? Like, it's the law of attraction is a completely different level. And so through this, like through her, I've kind of started to become more aware of myself. Started reading tons, like, and then listening to podcasts, and just like I started to create that hunger for wanting to know more about, like, just completely without judgment. And then I can decide, okay, do I find this, like, does it make sense to me or does it not? um but yeah, through that, over the past 2 years, it kind of steadily grew in me. And I think, like, now within the past year, I've actually, like, established spirituality as a really stable pillar in my life, and it has helped me massively. I've had, I think, the best example, and where it has made the biggest difference for me. I'm a total perfectionist. I'm finding it very hard to not be able to control things sometimes. And being German, like, I fully fulfill that stereotype of, like, everything needs to go a certain way, and I could not let go. I had a complete life crisis last summer where I figured out, fuck, I don't even know how's my life going. I don't have a plan. Like, this is not possible. Like, how will I become successful without having a plan? And then life just, like, threw a breakup at me, completely unexpected. It was like, shit, like this is not like, this is completely messing with my life plan. But then I realized, okay, the only thing I can really do now is to run myself into a depression, or I can just let go. And this is where I was like, okay, I'm, for the first time in my life, I'm going to choose to just let go, and I'm going to put it out to the universe. I'm going to just like let it go. I trust, and I ground myself every single day in gratitude for what I have right now in my life. I visualize, I know what I want. And but it was really this act of letting go and kind of trusting the universe, um, that made the big difference to me. And so yeah, that's what I've been doing ever since. It's still kind of a struggle sometimes, like old me always kind of comes out every now and then, but every day I just try. Every single time this comes up, I'm like, nope, it's fine. I'm just going to let go. I'm going to let life run its way, but I'm still going to do the best I can every single day to favor the outcome that I want. And so this is completely independently of, again, if you are spiritual or not, if you do believe in the law of attraction or not. If you just let go of what you can't control in this specific moment, but still show up for yourself and do the best you can every single day, you will succeed and you will achieve whatever you want. And I think, yeah, that's how I've discovered it. This is how it's helped me massively. And yeah, now I'm just at a point where I'm so freaking excited for my life. It's going to be amazing. And now I know, again, from a spiritual perspective, I'm just going to attract, like being in this state of like joy and gratitude, I'm going to attract whatever, like the best life. And so yeah, that's a very long explanation of how I got to spirituality.
I love it. You're awesome, Natalie. You just inspired me so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
there's like
Thank
three
you.
major things that I'm going to try to unpack here from what Natalie just shared and inspired me to share with you guys in the audience. First, I love how you described being super in love with science and not super in love initially with spirituality and anything woo-woo. I love that, because the coolest thing where we are right now, you know, at the time of this recording in 2020, is the marriage of science and spirituality has been happening more and more and more. And I was kind of like the opposite, as far as I really wasn't the kid that loved the science stuff. I felt some of it was interesting if it was like applicable in my like real life. Like I didn't really care about all the stuff that I knew I wasn't going to be like this like big time scientist doing any of this random experiments. I didn't want to cut frogs and petri dishes or anything like that. Like I'm just like, I'm cool with that. But you know, when it comes to, you know, like I mentioned, I had a mentor give me my first book on law of attraction. I was like, this is really interesting. At that time, I didn't have science to apply it to, but what really helped me evolve the way that I've evolved over these last many years is being able to then have the science element come in to, you know, to make, you know, completely valid everything that I've learned as far as the spiritual and the energy side. I went to a retreat a couple years ago, Natalie, and literally got to see with the EEG little brain, little frequency,
That's so
little scanners
cool.
on me. So I
Nice.
got to see my actual energy in the moment, you know, feeling good, feeling crap, you know, thinking about different thoughts to allow these different frequencies and to be able to see it. And then that really just like grounded in what I already knew, as far as, say I'm thinking about something out there in the audience and, you know, I feel really, really good. Say, just call it happy. You know, say I had a measurement where this is the frequency of happy, which could be anything for different people. It's just a word, but just call it happy. Well, I know that the only thoughts that I'm going to have while being in this happy energy are happy thoughts. Because if I start having like,
You can't do things
yeah,
simultaneously. You're either happy or you're sad.
for
And again,
sure.
that is science. You can
Yes.
only have one fact,
100.
like one
Yeah.
emotion at a time. So
And it's
that's the great thing.
always in the moment, which is awesome,
Yeah.
because I don't have to think, well, was I happy yesterday? Because that's going to apply, right? That doesn't matter. Like, am I going to be happy tomorrow? Doesn't matter. Only right now is like you can only measure from the moment, you know, so you can't measure from
Yeah.
something that doesn't exist yet. So what's awesome is once I could merge the law of attraction, and for anybody out there, if you don't really know, I'll share with you, I'm inspired to share with you what I know to be true about law of attraction, because because we're always some frequency, vibration, energy right now in the moment, we can start with the thoughts that we think from there as far as, okay, I'm going to have these happy thoughts because it's a match to my happy frequency and vibration. And so the words that I speak are going to be from that vibration. The actions that I take are going to be from that vibration. And the results that I start to see, just if you didn't even say the law of attraction, like, I don't believe in any of that, you can just know that what I just shared with you, if you're in a depressed or sad or frustrated, angry mood, then your thoughts, your words, and your actions are going to also be depressed, angry thoughts, words, and actions. So what are your results going to be? Probably not that amazing. Like if you're working in a team, like the people are probably going to want to work with you. So you're going to have things that are responding to you in life that are going to be a match to that vibe, to that energy. So take the law of attraction out of it, and you could just go just straight, you know, it's obvious. That's just common sense. But if you start to notice and pay attention, and this is what I love about, you know, law of attraction and just understanding some of these spiritual truths, is you start to pay attention to some of the synchronicities, you know, things that you can never predict that happen in your life. They're going to be a direct reflection of your vibe leading up to that synchronicity. So, and synchronicity doesn't always have to be ones that you like. Synchronicities can be, I'm driving to the store trying to get there before it closed. Like I'm in a rush. I knew I needed to be doing all this other stuff. And crap, now I just got rear-ended. You know, I'm not wishing that on anybody. But if you notice when synchronicities happen, things that you can never predict, that you don't like or that you like, just notice your vibe, your mood, your energy leading up to that synchronicity happening. And you can be honest with yourself and be like, damn, I have been rushing. I have been frustrated. I have been worried. Don't make yourself wrong for it. But now you can be aware of it so that you can start to choose. And that's all I care about is present moment awareness, so that we have the power to choose. And now you can start having some synchronicities happening the way that you want them to go. And then the last thing that I'll point out that you said that really inspired me, because you mentioned, and you said this, and I won't say exact quote, but this is what you said somewhat. You said you allowed yourself to let go before you spiraled into just an all-out depression, which I love how you just worded that, because life and energy, it's all momentum. So focus on anything that has us feeling crappy, you know, or powerless long enough. Keep focusing on it. And just like Nathalie mentioned, you will spiral into an all-out depression or powerless. We don't really have words in the English language that are more powerful descriptors of crap feeling energy than powerless, depressed, you know, maybe grieving could be down there. There's not really any words that we can describe that feel worse than that. And so knowing that, what she said, what she described, which is awesome, because if you have momentum going, say you've been focusing on something and you can be aware of this, and you've noticed yourself focusing on something the last few days or longer, or last few moments that have had you feeling crappy, well, again, continue focusing on it. You'll feel crappier and crappier and crappier. Or you can let it go, or you can find something to appreciate about the situation, which is another form of letting it go. Or you can focus on any of the other trillions of subjects that you can focus on that maybe don't have this strong momentum going like this subject does. And that'll at least allow you your momentum to stop, because if you don't, and you keep focusing on that subject in the same way, you will spiral into words like powerless and depressed. And that's just good for us to be aware of. Again, don't make yourself wrong for it, but it's just good to be aware of. What I love is the same is true for the flip side as well. So if we're focusing on something that we're really excited about, because here's what happens. If you do let go and momentum now stops, now we can actually allow some positive momentum to stop. All we have to do is be like, okay, I'm releasing this. I don't know how it's going to work out, when it's going to work out, who it's going to be. If you're out there, you want in a relationship or whatever part of life that has you a little bit off energy wise, if you are able to let go and then let some positive momentum start to build where you're at least at content and peace, and you can kind of just go from there. Now you can start to have positive synchronicities show up, positive ideas come in that you actually are excited about. And now the momentum can carry you in the other direction. And then all of a sudden, boom, flowing up energy in any direction. Now you have a manifestation. And that's law of attraction and energy and everything else, you know, in a nutshell is the best I can describe it. So you inspired all that,
Yeah.
Nathalie, and I appreciate you for saying
Damn,
it.
God. But it's exactly that. And I think what's important, like I always really like to kind of make that distinction between, we see this in the spiritual, energetic way, but it really does count in the, if you want to say scientific way. I mean, we now have science that kind of proves the law of attraction as well. But like, if you really want to go down to the hardcore stuff, it's like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, works exactly that way. And funnily only did a video on this yesterday. It's just like you have a situation, you have the thoughts, and then you have the interpretation like of those thoughts based on your belief system, your experience in life, and that creates the emotion. As soon as you change that interpretation, like everything changes. So the objective, the same situation, um, is completely, can be completely different in the subjective mind of two people. So I'm not afraid of spiders. That's the example I used yesterday. I'm not afraid of spiders. If I walk into a room and see a spider, I don't care. If it's a person that is massively afraid of spiders, they will freak the fuck out. And it's just, this is how we create our realities, right? As soon as you change that interpretation, your reality changes in a very down to earth scientific way. And we were talking about those spirals, and that's the thing, like you have the downward spiral that you can block and interrupt it every time though. But you also have the upward spiral, like whatever you give energy and attention to, like where energy, like no, where attention goes, energy flows, right? That's the classic saying. This is how you can really change your day, your week, your life in a single individual moment. Because like that's like so important to understand for people as well. We are so easy to manipulate, it's not even funny. Like our brain is actually like, I mean, it's the most insanely intelligent thing there is, but it's also pretty stupid. Like if I tell myself I'm in such a good mood, like just a couple of times in a row, your brain will be like, are you sure? And like, yeah, I'm in an amazing mood. And that's like Marissa Peers, like for anyone who knows her, like she's amazing if you want to know more on that. Just tell yourself, no, I'm in such a good mood. And you, at some point your brain will be like, oh, okay, I guess we're in a good mood. Okay, let's get out some hormones, like get out some dopamine, some serotonin, and oh, suddenly you feel in a good mood. So we are very, very easy to manipulate. We just need to like catch ourselves in the moment to be like, oh, actually, like the way I'm feeling right now is not benefiting me. What can I do right now to change that? And then I can really consciously say, this is not how I want to feel. I want to feel joyful. I want to be happy. I want to feel grateful. And literally turn this around in that second. But it just takes awareness to catch yourself and not let it spiral out of control, but do something about it. And that's where you just have to take responsibility for yourself and get a grip. But you can, it's easy. You just need to catch yourself. Once you've learned that, your life has changed.
That's so good. That's so good. Rewind and listen to what Nathalie just said. Again, take notes on it. Like, that's so good. And she mentioned, it's so interesting. You mentioned Marissa Peer. Did I say her name right?
Yeah, Marissa Peers. Yeah.
I only even knew who this human was 48 hours ago. Like YouTube likes to,
No, yay.
yeah,
Synchronicity.
for sure. YouTube likes to just feed me random people just because of what I search for. And I was in the shower and I was like, who is this awesome lady with this awesome accent talking about I am enough? And I was like, this is so genius. Like out there, go, if you don't know who Marissa Peer is, go to YouTube and just put in Marissa Peer, Peer, I believe it is, and I am enough.
Exactly.
Put that in and watch the video that comes up. She's doing she probably does a lot of talks on that, but I was watching, it was a live talk.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love how you said that the brain is so smart, but also you can just trick it into whatever you want it to be. That's awesome. That's so true. And that's awesome, the synchronicity. I would not have known who this human was 2 days ago. No doubt about it. And she's done awesome
I
stuff.
just got, do you know, like I want to share one more thing, because I that is something I actually learned in my bachelor's, and it's one of my favorite experiments ever since. And that shows you how dumb we actually are. Is if you're sad, next time you just take a pen and like stick it between your teeth like this, and you make the motion of laughing and smiling, and then your brain thinks, oh, she's smiling, so she must be in a good mood, and releases the hormones according to that. And this is how simple this is. Next time you're in a bad mood, just like take a pen, stick it between your teeth, and it'll change.
Wow.
And that's, again, scientifically proven. It's hilarious. It's actually hilarious how easy it is to put yourself into a better space if you know how.
We might as well be, which is what flashed into my mind just now. We might as well be little animals in the jungle chewing on branches of trees and having fun in life, just being present, or think about who and what we all truly are, you know, deep down before we started telling ourselves we aren't enough, or society was telling us that we aren't enough. All these like little unconditional love giving little kids. And as a little kid, you were willing to go around biting and playing with anything. So that's what flashed into my mind when you just gave that strategy. It makes so much sense. Your dentist
It's
might not
true.
enjoy you doing some of these things. So caution out there, what you put in your mouth and chew. The Natalie told me to chew on these objects and not my people.
Yeah. No, listen, I just took the pen. I just used the pen as an example.
For sure. And you mentioned the spider thing. What's interesting about that, I have a story that all animals love me because I love them. And so they're not going to mess with me. So when I see any animal, I'm just not. Now, I'm not so comfortable yet. So maybe I evolved to this point where I'm like willing to like handle tarantulas and things of this nature and like different snakes. Like I'm not that comfortable yet. However, I have a healthy respect and appreciation for them, for what they're doing. And they just want to enjoy their lives just like we do, you know, whatever they're instinctively here to do. So I give you your space, you know, and they don't really come around. They're not messing with me. I've never lived in any areas where tarantulas and stuff just can show up inside your place. So cross that path.
Thank God. Yeah, I think that I wouldn't like that either. Like that's where I draw the line. Like if suddenly I have a tarantula in my shower. Yeah, no.
I've met some people from Australia that have the little hairy, like not the little hairy spiders like this big. And they're so used to seeing them in their place that they have names. Like, oh, that's George. And they're like, cool with George. George is cool with the family. It's like a pet. So
yeah, well, I guess it's all, but here this kind of like underlines the kind of relevance of culture. And this is where it comes back to your belief systems, right? And the stories that you tell yourself, they're so influenced by where you live, by your family, who are your friends, like who do you surround yourself with, what is normal in your culture, what are the belief systems that are accepted around you. And suddenly, like, you can see the world in a completely different way. That someone in, I don't know, China, like Asia has a very different culture than our Western culture in many ways. So it's a thing that we consider completely normal might be super rude in their sense, or the other way around. And like what you said earlier, it's a story that you tell yourself. Like you have that story that animals don't ever harm you, that you have a good relationship with animals.
Better story.
They love you. And this is the thing, like depending on what story you tell yourself about your life, about your experience, your past, but also your presence, that will completely shift how you live your life, how you see the reality that's unfolding in front of you. So that's another thing, like your beliefs, your story that you keep telling yourself every single day, that makes the biggest difference. And that's where we get into things like negative self-talk. Like no wonder people are getting so depressed and anxious and suicidal, because it's that comparison that you constantly make. Like, oh my God, I'm not as thin as her, I'm not as beautiful as her, like I'm not as intelligent or successful as that other person. Change that story. Be accepting of yourself. Like Marissa Peer says, I am enough just the way I am right now, which does not mean I'm not going to work on myself in the future. And suddenly everything changes. So it's really like you are infinitely powerful over your reality now and in the future. You just have to like accept that and take responsibility for it.
I love it. I love that you just mentioned further about the stories too. I want to share something with you guys in the audience that will really help you when it comes to just being aware of your story, because why I do all the stuff that I do is to help people with present moment awareness. And once you become aware of something, you can't become unaware of it. So now I'm excited to see what you choose, because the choice is totally up to you. So when you see yourself, whether it be in the form of thoughts or if you're speaking it, then you know you've had some thoughts festering. And that's a really good highlight of what story you've been telling. If you find yourself speaking something that is anything other than what you would like to see in your life. So next time you hear yourself say something out of your mouth or think something in your mind that is anything other than what you'd like your life to be aware of it. Don't beat, and you have two choices here once you're aware of it. You can beat yourself up, be like, oh, I'm doing it again. That's just going to make it feel worse. We can't beat ourselves up, judge ourselves, be critical of ourselves, and feel good, positive momentum. We can't move in the direction of things that we want to be or do or have in life at the same time. So you kind of have to choose. But you can be really excited. And my advice is, once you become aware of it, be really excited that now you've just uncovered a story that before that point of being aware of it probably was a blind spot for you. And you're just telling the story and not even realizing that you're telling it, and is affecting what you're seeing right now in your life. So now that you're excited about it, now asking the question, what would I like to see? This is not what I like to see in my life, but what I like to see, and then being able to tell the new story of, I am doing whatever this is, or I am this way, versus that, and tricking yourself, like we've been talking about, that telling your brain, and your brain will believe you the longer that you tell it. And life can start synchronicities and ideas and ways for it to happen. You don't have to know how it's going to all, work out. Like if you're telling yourself, I'm always doing this and it's, making me unhealthy, that's now awareness of a story that you're telling. So, okay, I am healthy. Like I'm moving in the direction of being healthy. I'm attracting people, places, information to me that will help me be healthy on my journey of being healthy. I don't know what they're going to be right now or what it's all going to look like, but I'm excited for the adventure to unfold of my health journey. And right now I'm moving towards that. Like, that's a much more empowering story and a better story. And then now you can allow the synchronicities to find you, and they can come in so many different ways. You could be watching a Netflix show and you're like, what are they doing right there? That looks like an interesting little physical activity. Like, you Google that. Oh my gosh, they have one of those places right down the street from my house, or I could do that at home, or whatever it is. And it could just unfold in so many different ways. So I appreciate you saying that about stories, because I'm huge on that, helping people just be aware of
It's
what we're speaking.
fundamental. Yeah, it's absolutely fundamental. And I think one thing that you just like kind of hinted on is that I am, like whatever you put after I am, that's going to become your reality. It's like if I say I am healthy or I am stressed, like that's what's going to happen. You reinforce that all the time. So even if you're in a normal day and you feel like tired and you keep saying, oh my god, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, like there's just like, for any one of you who listen to Oprah, I mean, who doesn't love Oprah? She just had a podcast like on exactly that. Like you tell yourself, oh my god, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, then you will feel more and more tired. But if you tell yourself, I'm in such a good mood, I'm so happy, like this is what you're gonna like feel as well. And this is just by this I am, and then you put whatever you actually want in your life behind it. This is how you change your life within a day. Easy. But you actually just have to like make this subconscious, like part of your subconscious kind of patterns. And then this will really like, the ball really like gets rolling. But there's so much we can do on a daily basis that will absolutely change your life, and you just need to take responsibility for that. Like that's something I cannot emphasize enough. You have to take responsibility for yourself, and for your happiness and for anything you want in life, because at the end of the day, the only person who can change your life is you, in the form of your perception.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm so happy that you hinted on, that you mentioned the I am, you took it further. If you guys out there listening, Natalie, I had her title is, she's a mindful psychotherapist on with me a few episodes ago, Lena Franklin. And we were talking about meditation, or, for clients of hers that, maybe they've never meditated before, or, that's not something that's a part of their practice right now. She has just a little short little I am. It could be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's just simply that. It's just being able to just tell that, I am this, and just almost just affirmations, being able to breathe in the I am, and then the release the whatever it is that follows that you would like to see happen. Super powerful for anybody out there. That's a really good way to start the day, any time of the day. But just know that that's going to boost your energy. And even if, you might not believe it the first time that you say I am something, keep saying it, and you'll believe it more and more and more, and then you'll see evidence that will support that new energy, that new belief. So I'm happy that you brought that up.
It's a thing, like start your day with it, end your day with it, and that'll completely change your sleep, the quality of your sleep. Like if you go to sleep like if the last thing of your day is like repeating your affirmations, I'm a massive fan of affirmations. Like I'm sitting on my desk right now, and above me I have 5 frames with my main affirmations, and like every time I sit on my desk I see those affirmations. Every night before I go to sleep, I I read through my vision, I read through my affirmations, and my sleep has massively improved. Like, go to sleep with a positive thing in mind, your sleep will enhance. Wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do, I meditate, I remind myself of my vision, I read my affirmations, I start my day in a completely different way. The last thing that I always say before I get up out of bed is, I love my life. Put some good music on, and my day is has been amazing ever since. Doesn't mean that I don't have like challenges, but once you start your day in that kind of like on that frequency, like, everything is better. You're way less sensitive, you're way less angry. It's better for your skin. You don't get as many wrinkles, trust me on that. And it's just good. Like, it's the way to go. Start your day right, and your day right, and your life is just literally gonna change.
That's so good. First time I've ever said this on a podcast, Natalie. Rewind. I've said it twice now. I've never said it twice on a podcast, but rewind and listen to that part again, like, for sure.
Yes.
There were things that I wanted to piggyback on, and then she said it in the next sentence, so I'm not going to piggyback at all. Re-listen to that though. So important. Everything that Natalie just described. You're awesome. I'm so happy that we're
Oh,
doing
thank
podcast.
you. This is great. Yeah. Especially what you, just to put this into context, we actually didn't plan on recording anything. It was just meant to be like a casual conversation. And here we are. And this is what we said earlier in life. You just got to learn to go with the flow, and then the good things happen.
To be super transparent, Natalie didn't know if she wanted to record or not yet. I knew I wanted to record with her. So, however,
That's
I
true.
just knew that I was going to have an awesome conversation and be able to connect with another awesome human being. And if it, flowed towards recording a podcast, great. I wasn't attached to whether we did or we didn't. But once we started talking and we started flowing things that I was like, I really want to record this and share this with all of you guys. Natalie's so gracious. We're like, yes, let's do it. Let's record. And that's what you guys are listening to now. And I'm sure you're very, very happy that we are. Put in the comments, put in here, and contact Natalie and follow her on social media. Make sure you tell her that you appreciate her doing this podcast, and any questions that you have for either of us, ask them. I'm
Yes.
trying to get better at asking that, Natalie, because I don't say that on any of them. So any of the podcasts that you guys listen to me out there, if you have questions, put it in the comments or contact. I want to answer them.
And here, like, if we're already like fully disclosing, the thing is, this is like, I've never recorded a podcast before. So I was actually kind of nervous. And so for me, it was that like, uh, do I really want to do this? It's like still that kind of resistance within me. And then you were like, oh, come on, let's just record. It was like, you know what? Yes, let's just do it. Like, and now we're here, and now I've like ticked up a massive thing of my bucket list. So this is great. This is just,
That's
life
awesome.
is good.
I didn't know
That's
that.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that part.
I know.
And what I share with Natalie, and it's so true. And the reason that, I do this and it's so much fun to share things on the internet that lives forever. It's, if it impacts even one person, which I know 100% has impacted, a lot of you guys out there listening. I'm sure you've gotten one golden nugget from this conversation for sure, from Natalie. And that's what I share with her, is it's going to impact at least one person. Then, it'll be fun to do. So
That's all we want in life. If one person is impacted positively, we've achieved our goal.
yeah, it's
Right?
so much fun. Well, you're awesome. And if there's anything else that you want to tell people as far as things that you have going on or anything at all, or things you're excited about, or anything else that you want them to know from the mind of Natalie, I will leave
The
it
mind of Nathalie. I like it. I like it. It makes me feel very relevant. I think the only thing I really want people to know, and especially in our generation, I consider myself incredibly lucky to have been able to establish that kind of awareness and knowledge for myself at quite a young age. Like, I'm 27 now, and I know that a lot of people die without having any of that. So I'm so grateful that I'm able to live this kind of life now. And really, what I want to do is just encourage more people my age and younger to make that change. Like, so many people wait for that big traumatic event in their life to actually change. Why would you do that? Why would you wait for some trauma to appear in your life to change your life to something better? You can do it now from a place of stability and resilience and safety, um, and not from a space of pain and hurt and somewhere where you don't have the resources. So what I really want to do is just like encourage people, start with this stuff as as early as you can, because you have your life ahead of you. Make the most of it, because we only do have that one life, at least in this one body. um Make the most of it. Like, you can really change your life within a very short period of time. But you do have to take responsibility for it. You have to take responsibility for yourself. But there's so many resources and people out there nowadays. Like, we're at a time now where people are becoming more aware. There's never, I think, been more need and thirst for that kind of knowledge. And so the community is growing every single day. And so seek out those people that can encourage you and that can contribute to your life in a positive manner. And it's all there for you. It really is. Like, the world that we live in right now is amazing. It's, I know there's a lot of shit going on, but generally speaking, like, we have every opportunity to really make the most of our lives. But you just have to take responsibility for yourself, and because you are, and I think that's a big topic as well, you are worthy of the life that you do want. um no matter what society tells you. Like, I know society and family and friends have that tendency to kind of put limits on your dreams, and just don't listen to that. Like, you really can achieve whatever you want in life. Just go ahead and do it. It's your one life. Take responsibility and make the best of it. You will never regret that one. That I'm sure of.
So beautifully said. That was awesome. I love everything that you just said right there. And whenever someone questions or brings up the worthiness topic, I just like to remind anyone that is listening that the same energy flows to and through and is who we all are in the moment. And it's a choice. And all the stuff that we're talking about today, it's simple. It's not easy though. I mean, we have these, these habits and these practice stories, and so nothing that we're saying is that complicated to tell yourself that, that you're enough, that you're worthy, that you can be, do, and have anything. And if one person that you see in the world can, then that means we all can, because there's no special breed of human that has ever been in existence.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly that. We're, at the end of the day, we're all the same, really.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there's no difference.
So if I can tap into love or passion or excitement or bliss or joy or ecstasy or whatever it is, and Nathalie can, then everybody else out there can as well. And we're human. We can also tap into frustration, worried, powerless, depressed, if we choose, if we allow it to go there. And don't make yourself wrong for it. Just be aware of it. And then you can stop the momentum, which is the most important thing. Allow it to, release. And like we talked about, allow your momentum to go in the other direction. And then energy, where, like Nathalie mentioned, where attention goes, energy flows, and you flow attention and energy at anything for a long enough period of time, you're going to have a physical manifestation, whether it be something that you manifest that you really want or excited about in areas of health, relationships, financially, or it could be also be in the area that you don't want. And it's all dependent on how much energy you flow in that direction. And that can simplify, as we said. It's simple. It might not be easy. But now that you're aware of some new things, the choice is yours. And Nathalie's rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. Any questions about any of this, feel free. But again, there's no special breed of human. We're all awesome, and every single one of you out there can be, do, and have anything. And I'm excited to see where the journey takes us all. We're living in a beautiful time where we can literally, me and Nathalie are thousands of miles away right now, and we just decided to. She had the option. She talked to me on her computer. She talked to me on her phone. Like, should she use Wi-Fi? Should she use there's so many different options. So
I think one thing that just came to me that I really want to share before we end. I don't want anyone to think that negative emotions are not part of our lives. I think it's very important to, first of all, even though I'm speaking in a way that says, oh, you can achieve whatever you want, I know that there's a lot of people out there that are in really, really tough situations, and I don't want to minimize the importance of that. I know that I've been myself in places where I was like, how the hell am I going to get out of this? Like I said earlier, like I'm really convinced that if I wouldn't have made a specific decision a few months ago, I would have probably gone into depression. And again, I know there's a lot of people out there that have a way worse and tougher life than I do. Um, but it's just about, I don't want to minimize this, and make clear that I'm very aware of the hardship that a lot of you guys are facing. The only thing that I really want to encourage you to do is that awareness of, you do have a choice how you respond to what you're facing in every single moment. So even if you're in a very tough like spot right now, it's your choice to go for something that will spiral you further down, that will stop that momentum, or that will spiral you up. That's the only thing I'm saying, and that's where your power lies, and that's where you have to embrace your power. um, Tough times are a part of life, no matter who you are. um, and I totally acknowledge that there's a lot of people out there that are completely hopeless. um, and it's a really, really difficult situation and spot to get out of. um, but if you do manage to find that little light that will just enable you to go like a tiny bit higher. It's really baby steps sometimes, and that's okay. You don't have to make that massive leap within a short period of time. Sometimes it's just tiny baby steps, one after another. But if you keep going, you will get yourself out of this. So I think that's one thing that's important to acknowledge, because there's a lot of shit going on out there, and there's a very big amount of difficult things to deal with for a lot of people. And I don't want to seem like I don't consider that. I do, but I still think, independently of what you're going through, there is something you can do. So
I'm so happy you just said that. And I'm
yeah.
so inspired to share this with the audience, because I can definitely be someone, because of being aware of the things that we've talked about in this episode. It gives me so much peace and excitement for life. And I love that you said that so much, because I can, be super honest with the audience, and I always want to be. I've experienced, and I'm sure everybody out there has as well, challenges in all areas of life: health, relationships, financially, and at one phase of life. And I noticed that what was spiraling me more and more and more down was trying to figure out how I was going to change that from right there where I stood. And the longer I tried to figure out how I'm going to change it, from that energy of feeling, powerless, depressed, frustrated, worried, anxious, the more I tried to figure out how from that energy, I could only have more thoughts come from that energy, like we talked about. So it was just
It's
increasing the
overwhelming.
spiral. Yeah. And I just
Yeah,
felt worse and
super
worse and worse and
overwhelming.
worse.
Yeah,
And
of
here's what
course.
I can share with everybody out there. Any question that we have, for the universe or God or love or all that is, or source energy, or just any question that you have, period. You don't have to label it put a label on it at all. Any question that we have, the answer will come to us when we're in a place where we can actually receive the answer to it. And we can't hear the answer that we need to take our life to where we want it to go in areas of health, relationships, financially, whatever it is, from a place of worry and frustration or anger. The answer will never come from you there. Like, there's not many guarantees in life. Here's one. You're not going to have the answer come from there. However, if you can get back to just being to the point where it's like, okay, I know that anytime I have a powerful question, the answer is going to find me when I'm ready to hear it. So I could just be at peace knowing that I don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. I can't figure that out right now. If I knew how I could change my health, relationship, financially, I would have already been doing it. So obviously that's not something that I know right now exactly how to do it. However, I know that the answer is going to find me when I'm ready to receive it. And just getting back to that peace, you could be taking a shower, you could be going for a run, you could be doing anything, cooking some food, eating some good food, watching a show that's having you laughing on Netflix or whatever it is. And the answer all of a sudden to that question that you asked about something totally different than that Netflix show that you're watching right now can come to you from the show itself, or just pop into your mind at any time. You're like, oh, that's something that now you're excited about something. Now there's a spark. And from that spark, you can flow some energy towards it, and that spark can become a flame. And then now that flame is burning it, hate using this analogy with all the wildfires that are going on right now. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
analogies, but it's just terrible analogy right now. But you guys see what I'm saying. And then you can throw more energy and just throw, gasoline on it. And now you're on fire as a human being. And that's how we all want to live. And so I'm so appreciative of you bringing that up, Nathalie, because I just want everybody just to be reminded that any question that we have in life, the answer will always find us. Like, it gives me so much peace knowing that I don't have to figure out all the answers. And once I allow myself just to get back to enjoying the only moment that's promised to any of us, which is right now, as much as I can, which a lot of times is by taking my attention totally off that thing that is caused me to be worried. It could be challenging if you have like a physical, pain going on right now, to take your attention off it. It's a whole nother conversation. It can be done. That's the most challenging, to take your attention off. But any of the things where it's involving your thought driving that spiral down, a really great idea is if you can take your attention onto something else that feels better, that can get you back to a point where now you can actually receive the answer to that question that was spiraling you. But you don't have to be thinking specifically about something to receive the answer to it. It can come to you in other phases of your life, doing other things, thinking about other things. So happy that you mentioned that, because I never want people to think, and I've made sure on like social media and everything that I share to share both sides. But what you guys hear from me most of the time is this like super excited Noel. And it's only because I'm aware of all the things that I just shared with you. It's the only reason that I have the peace and the excitement and the passion and the momentum, because of being aware of that. And now that you're aware of it, can't become unaware of it. So now it's a choice. And that's all that I care about, is wanting to give everybody the power of choice. You're awesome, Nathalie.
Thank you. You
Such a
too.
good
I'm
conversation.
really enjoying this conversation. This is like, it's so nice. And that's another thing. Like, I have attracted the most amazing people into my life recently. Like, I've already had amazing people in my life, but I now I've attracted like a group of girls into my life, and oh my God, I mean, they've saved me in this time. They cheer me on, like I cheer them on, and we're just really a group that is so encouraging. Um, and that's another thing. Like, if you can find people that encourage what you want in life, people that you can dream with, people that have the same outlook as you, in a positive way, obviously, because the people around you can really make or break you. And I've experienced that, like, in the opposite as well, where I've had people in my life that have limited me and that have really torn me down in a lot of ways. Um, but now I'm just surrounded by people that encourage me and make me a better person every single day. And that has made a massive difference in my life. Because sometimes you will have those days or moments in your life where you do not have the energy to get yourself up again, and where you're just like stuck somewhere. And then if you have those people, that will be that little like interruption that will be able to get you out of that. And so yeah, your community, that's another very, very valuable resource if you want to change your life. Find the right people, find your tribe, and that'll make a big, big difference for sure.
You ladies out there do a really good job of this community element. I've been noticing over the years, like there's so many like boss babe communities. I'm like, you
Yes,
girls do such a good
they're
job
the
of putting
best.
stuff
And
together.
you should, you know what? You need that stuff from men as well, because that's the thing.
I
Like,
like your feminine energy too, though. I want you guys involved. So that's why I've never
the
created
thing
this
is,
guy one.
do you know what? I think you should. I think you should, because there is so much empowerment around women going on at the moment, which is amazing and which is really necessary. But there is so many guys out there that need to hear this message as well, but they don't feel like they can be vulnerable enough to really settle into that message. But I mean, suicide rates in men, young men, are insane, and they're increasing. And it's because society has created that picture of men not being allowed to be vulnerable and open to that kind of stuff. But so this counts for men just as much as it does for women. And there's finally a movement coming slowly that kind of questions the stereotypical view on masculinity. But this is why, for example, for me, like, it would have been natural for me to kind of restrict myself to women as like a target group. And I really consciously said no. Like, I really want to speak to both, because men do need to hear this. And you know what? Yes, I mean, you do have a lot more influence still at this point, and it's kind of more stereotypically accepted for men to be powerful, and but it's like the opposite, like with the powerful side that we women have to learn, the men have to learn that it's also okay to be vulnerable, and to surrender to the things that are tough in life. You do not have to play the tough one all the time. Like nobody should expect that of you. And I think once that is being embraced, and really made clear, society will change, because then there's actually a chance for equality, that where women don't have to be like, oh, I'm the tough one, I'm the tough one. I don't want to be the tough one the whole time. I want to embrace my feminine power, um, without having to act like a man in order to be successful. And it's the opposite way. Men should be allowed to be vulnerable, and show their soft side without being judged for it. So this is like, and once we have this right on both sides, on both genders, then we will have a large scale change in this world. And I cannot wait for this to happen, because we will get there at some point.
It's happening right
I hope.
now in conversations like these. And anybody else that wants to remember that, male or female, again, the same energy flows to and through us all, and it's who we all truly are.
Yes.
So when you're being loving, because it can only be in the moment. So I don't care if you say that you love someone. If right now you're yelling at them, you're not being loving. You're not being loved. You call that whatever you want to call that, frequency wise. And when I'm truly being loving, I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be everything that is what would be desirable to be in a human connection, in a human relationship. And then when I'm not going to be. I'm going to bring all of these characteristics, call it, aggression, call it, frustrated, worry, anger, rage, blah, blah, blah. It's all part of the human experience. I just know that when we are being truly who we are, all of those things flow, and we can all flow together. So I don't know if I'll ever create just a solo men's group, because I really like hanging out with, I like women so much. So.
But I think you should like create a group that's like, that kind of empowers men to be vulnerable, where it's like, come on, let's meet up together and cry. That's a good thing. Crying is a good thing, and you should do it more. It's very healthy, it's very cathartic. No, it's just like, I think creating a space where men are allowed to be vulnerable and open, I think that is something that's definitely missing. And it's also, for us women, it's important to be that space to our partners. A lot of women still in their partners are looking for this tough guy, and we have to be able to be that safe space for them as well. Might be tough for them at the beginning to open up and be vulnerable, but we have the chance as women to really change men as well, and give them the chance to be more vulnerable and more true to themselves, without kind of this societal stigmas that we have created over time. I think that's a responsibility that we need to take as well as women.
The only way that you're going to change anyone is by inspiring them through your example, being that example of love with them, so that they can feel that and join you in that frequency, so that they can also be who they truly are. Because whenever two energies, humans, are interacting with each other, one of two things are going to happen. So you guys both bring a frequency. And so those frequencies want to interact. So if someone's bringing a frustrated frequency and you're like on a positive, high vibe, blissful frequency, they're either going to probably not want to be around you very long, or they're going to join you there, or hopefully you don't join them in the frustrated, like you go from being happy to, and they're frustrated, and now you're blaming them like, why are you always trying to bring down my vibe and kill my mood? Now you just joined them in their frequency. So frequencies are going to interact. You're going to choose a frequency because your energy is going to combine, and you're going to have a collaborative frequency. Like the collaborative frequency of Natalie and I's conversation has been awesome. And I knew it was going to be that, because I was bringing my frequency, and Natalie was either going to join me there, and that's where she was when we talked. So I didn't do anything special. No, I'm no special breed of human. Or if she was not willing to play with me in this awesome frequency where we're having fun and empowering, she wouldn't have wanted to do the podcast. Like, I have something going on, and I just got a call. So, and it would have just been the way it is. So let's, out there listening, not overcomplicate life too much. All we can control is what vibe and frequency we bring in this moment, only thing that we control. And then from there, when it comes to human connection, you guys are going to join each other somewhere. So just making it so important to you that your frequency is where you like it to be. Again, it's all part of the human experience. So don't make yourself wrong if it's not. If you know that you are, though, where you like to be, if you're feeling good, you're content, you're at peace, you're happy, you're enjoying life, just know that that person that you're communicating with or connecting with, just allow them to come up to where you are. And if they're not willing in those moments, they're going to not want to be around you in those moments, and they'll come back and play with you when they're ready. But that's all you can control is your vibe. So you can stay there regardless of, and the cool thing about life is you'll start attracting people to you only when they're ready to play in that frequency. Because if that's the frequency that you've decided that you want to live most of your life in, and we're human, but if that's where you're choosing to live, like chronically, that's where you're living, the only people that are really going to show up in your life to play with are going to be in that frequency. You're not going to really have a bunch of drama around you. If I even, Natalie, witness drama in the world, not me personally being involved in it, because drama is just not a part of my life. I've decided that for a long time because I'm controlling where my frequency is, doing what you mentioned, starting the day in a really good place. Again, go back and listen to that section where Nathalie was talking about starting her day and ending her day. Really amazing information. I do the same. And just because of that, even if I witness a dramatic event or argument or something out in out in public, when I'm out in the world, I'm asking myself, Noel, what has your frequency been? Because this is a synchronicity that's happening. I'm witnessing this argument that I didn't know was going to happen. So I'm asking myself, what has my frequency been leading up to witnessing this argument? Again, I'm not even personally involved, but then I kind of am because I'm witnessing it. And so my point is, in every single one of those instances, I was either rushing or thinking about something I was trying to control, or I wasn't in my optimal vibe. Because when I am, I don't even witness any drama in life. Like, this might sound like fairy tale land, but this is how life evolves. This is how it can be for all of us when we control the only thing that we can control, which is our personal right now frequency. And again, then we're compassionate, we're loving, we're enjoying life, we're interacting the way that we would like to interact with all the human beings that we're with. And it sounds simple, may not be easy, but it can be done for all of us because there's no special breed of us.
It can be done. I think that's the most important takeaway of this. Like, whatever you want, it can be done.
For sure.
Just take some effort sometimes and discipline, but it can be done.
Yes. Well, this has been awesome. I'm so excited for you guys out there hearing this right now, and excited to see where life evolves for you, Nathalie, and future collaborations, however those may look, and all of these things. And to follow your travels. Follow Nathalie on Instagram. She's going to be traveling to lots of cool places. She named off many cities in many continents that she's going to be going to in the next 5 months, I think she said. So if you want to get some inspiration, another part I like about social media is being inspired by places that I haven't been to and like, ooh, that looks cool, I want to go there. So follow Nathalie, and you'll see some of those places, and just appreciate you for coming on and sharing your energy and the love and light from you.
Well, thank you for inviting me on.
Yes.
It's been an honor. My first podcast. Hey.
I love it. It can only be one first podcast, and I'm happy that.
Yes.
I'm happy that Enlightened Conversations can be that, because this was definitely one of those. It was super fun. So appreciate it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. This was fun.
Yes. Well, thank you guys out there for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Definitely rate and review this, and share this podcast with anyone that came into your mind. It was no coincidence. It will definitely benefit them. There's lots of awesome things that we can all take away from this. And I'm just excited, rooting for every single one of you out there. 2020 has begun. And I'm affirming for every single one of you that this is going to be, and is already starting to become, your best year yet. And that can be the case for all of us. And I'm sending positive vibes to you all, and just rooting for every single one of you to see you, enjoying your life and doing whatever is meaningful and fulfilling and fun for you. And I'm excited to see where life evolves for all of us. So goodbye for now. Thank you again, Nathalie, and we'll talk to all of you all really, really soon. Awesome. That was so much fun. Wow.
That was.